Hi there, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tara and I'm a small business owner. My business is known as Leftover Luxe. I'll leave all the information down below. But today we're going to be talking about the 5 things that I wish I knew as a brand new Poshmark reseller. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, just keep watching. Okay, so the first tip I'm going to go over is really important. I wish I would have figured this out a lot sooner, but it might sound kind of obvious, but you should be sourcing as low as possible. I know it's exciting when you first start thrifting, you see things that are so low in price compared to a retail price value, but you have to think of it in terms of a business, and you want to source as absolutely low as possible in order to get the greatest return on your investment. So I don't tend to source anything higher than about $10 max, unless it's a really unique piece or really high-end designer, something along those lines. But if we're just picking up everyday normal stuff, my advice is don't go any higher than $10. That's really going to give you, it's going to set you up for success in the long run. Okay, the next thing I wish I knew as a brand new reseller on Poshmark is to look at comps. So you might ask, Tara, what are comps? So if you go into Poshmark, you can look up basically any brand, and I highly recommend that you do this. Let's say you find a Free People dress and you think, this should retail for a lot. You can go on Poshmark, type in Free People, narrow it down to the specific category. So maybe it's Free People, women, dresses. That'll show you it'll populate a whole new search result. And then from there, you want to go in and click the sold option. It'll say the availability is either sold or for sale or all, I believe. Click the sold button. That's going to show you every Free People dress that has sold, and then you can actually narrow it down or sort it by highest to lowest or lowest to highest. So you can see the range of what that particular brand and category is selling for. And that is so important, because one thing that I wasn't really aware of and I've had to learn the hard way is I would find something that is really high or a high retail value amount and think, surely this is going to sell for, a lot. I'm going to get a really good return on my investment. Not all brands that are high in retail value translate to a high sale value on Poshmark or resale value. I'm not sure why that is. It's just a well-known fact, unfortunately, in the reseller world. Not everything translates. So a good example of that is Eileen Fisher. Her items sell for, very high in that, couple $100 range. A lot of people have trouble selling Eileen Fisher. It does not do well on Poshmark. So educate yourself on comps. It's really important if you're trying to make this a business or even just a side hustle. You want to do well and you want your highest return on investment. So that's a huge tip. Okay, the next topic is I'm going to talk about sharing. And if you're brand new to Poshmark, you may not know what I'm talking about. Poshmark is very different different from other platforms in that it's a very kind of social platform. eBay and Mercari, those types of platforms, it's kind of like you list it and then forget about it until you make a sale or an offer. With Poshmark, you have to babysit Poshmark, and there's really no other way to describe it. It's kind of a little bit of a pain in my side. I wish I didn't have to share as much, but sharing is a huge feature on Poshmark. Basically, by sharing your closet, you are putting your items up to the top of search results. So it's really important that you're at least sharing once or twice a day. I recommend more than that. I know if you have more items in your closet like I do, that can be very time consuming, but it is necessary, I would say, at least once or twice a day to get the sharing up. Now, also on the sharing topic, a lot of people, and you'll see this especially when you first sign up for Poshmark, all of a sudden these strangers, these other people, these other accounts are sharing your items. And it's a little weird at first, like, whoa, thank you, I guess. And I think the expectation is if they share your closet, you should share back, right? And I used to do that. And I think to be at ambassador status, and I can do a whole nother video on ambassador status, but in order to get a certain status within Poshmark, you do need to share other people's closets. And I would say it's a good karma idea, right? If someone is sharing your closet, it is nice to return the favor and maybe share at least 1 or 2 items of their closet. But if you are trying to do this to benefit yourself and your sales, sharing other people's closet is not going to benefit you in sales. It's just not. It's a nice thing to do, but I would not waste my time sharing other people's closet. I would focus my time in sharing my own things to ensure that my items in my closet are at the top of that brand search result, if that makes sense. So yeah, the sharing is a little bit of a hot topic on YouTube. I have heard a lot about it, and I think, you just get used to it, and it's part of the machine that is Poshmark. So that is one thing I wish I did know, though. Sharing doesn't always benefit you. Okay, next up, when you are a brand new reseller, it is very exciting when you get your first offer. And even your first several offers. Poshmark is known to get lowball, as they say, lowball offers. I get them quite a few, well, not quite a few, but when I do get offers, a lot of times they are on the lower end, with even like greater than 50% off. Some people, which I find this kind of funny, some people get personally offended when they get a lowball offer. To me, I look at it as an opportunity. This person clearly wants whatever I have in my closet. This is the time to negotiate. So what I'm saying here at this point is you don't need to accept a lowball offer. You should always counter when you get an offer, because you have the information by getting an offer that this person at this point in time right now, they are interested in whatever it is you're selling. So it benefits you at least, like you could at least counter offer. You don't have to entertain their lowball offer. I think a lot of times, I mean, if you're looking at it from the buyer's standpoint, if you're a buyer, from their point of view, they want to go as absolutely low as possible, right? If you're the buyer, a lot of times you might find something you're interested in and say, hey, I'm gonna see if they'll take $10, and if they do, great. Maybe they're desperate to get rid of it. They might as well send the offer. They could always just hear no from the buyer or the seller. So a lot of times, if someone is super interested in an item, they will send the lowball offer hoping you'll accept it. But when you counter, they might just go ahead and accept your counter offer. So don't be afraid to not accept the lowball offer. Don't be afraid to not accept lowball offers. And I have had this happen a few times where I have completely, I countered, nothing happened. The next day, that buyer came back and bought my item at that price. So it's a little bit of a psychological game. Don't get personally offended. This is a business transaction. Stick to your guns. Know what you're willing to sell it for, and don't go any lower. It's that simple. Okay, and my final little piece of advice, or my final tip I wish I knew when I was a brand new reseller on Poshmark, is that descriptions are everything. So when you are listing an item, you need to put in the work ahead of time to make that description, put in all the necessary information that a potential buyer would want to know. So they want to know the size, they want to know, are there any flaws? Is there a style number? Is it machine washable? What is it made of? What is the material tag? All that information, as well as measurements. I provide measurements just because it is something that kind of keeps me safe as a seller. When you are thrifting items, sometimes those items can be maybe they've shrunk in the wash or something of that nature. And so it might say it's a large, but really it fits like a medium, who knows? So measurements are always important. That will really save you. Just to give first of all, it gives the potential buyer all the information they need. And second of all, if you do get a complaint, or if someone does file a complaint with you with Poshmark when they receive the item and they claim that the size is inaccurate, you are saved if your description clearly shows the measurements. So it's up to the buyer to determine if that size is going to work for them or not. So I just say it doesn't hurt to just do the work ahead of time. That'll save you in the long run. Also, descriptions are really great because once you have them done, you can store your items, put them away, and really not think about it until you make a sale. If you do not have a good description, a lot of times potential buyers are going to be asking you questions. You know, what size is this? Would this fit such and such? What are the measurements? All of that. And it's really satisfying when I'm sitting on my couch watching TV at night and someone sends me a question about an item and I can refer them to my description. And it's just black and white. It is what it is. So just keep that in mind. I know it can sound a little daunting to do the work ahead of time, but it is very beneficial to you as a seller in the long run. Okay, so those are the 5 things I wish I knew as a brand new reseller on Poshmark. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And if you have any questions or comments or any additional tips, that would be super helpful. Feel free to leave that below so anyone else can also read that and benefit from that. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. See you later. Bye.